Thank you very much, Faye. Good evening to you, everyone. Welcome to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in North London. Well, Stuart, you know this. The thing about Paris is you can always romanticise it. It's a quick getaway. You throw off the shackles of the everyday. You can be a little bit freer and more expressive. Yes, everything looks a little bit rosier in the city of love and passion. But eventually you have to come home and deal with the harsh realities. Tottenham moved on so fast from the love affair with Ange that it was always going to have the rebound feel to it. Thomas Frank's a good guy, he knows his way around a football club, but no one really likes change, even when you know that it's necessary. This stadium that Tottenham have built was constructed with adventure in mind, and the transition from the daring do of Postecoglou to the functional Frank football has seen some fall out of love with it all. Neither delivered results here though, and trying to do so against Marco Silva and Fulham, whose own relationship seemed a little bit rocky 2 weeks ago, is not going to be easy. Fulham are actually terrible at playing away from home in terms of putting results on the board, but after Silva and his bosses renewed their vows in the international break, there was a greater confidence about them in victory over Sunderland, and win tonight and they can go within a point of their hosts. Saturday night is often date night, but it's also the night when someone gets their heart broken. Will it be Tottenham or will it be Fulham? Tottenham make several changes from the midweek defeat away in Paris. Kevin Danso in for the suspended Romero, Vicario, Porro, Danso, Van der Ven and Udogie the back four, Bergvall, Paulinho in grey, Kudus, Kolo Muani and Richarlison in attack. Fulham in white in the black shirts tonight with gold trim, with Leno in goal making his 125th consecutive Premier League start. Tete, Anderson, Bassi and Sessegnon, Iwobi and Berger, the most used Fulham player, Harry Wilson, Josh King and Sam Chukwueze getting his first Premier League start behind Raul Jimenez in attack. Our referee Stuart Atwell, Andy Madley is the VAR. TalkSport is always the best way to follow football, and Sunday is no different. An extra instalment of live Premier League football from 12 as Manchester United go to Palace, followed by 4 Sunday afternoon fixtures that we will whiz around on Game Day Live. But right now, it's about who's got the stomach for the fight and the heart of desire. Spurs need to give their biggest supporters something to shout about, and Fulham want to leave them feeling hollow again. It's Tottenham Hotspur against Fulham, and it's underway only on TalkSport. And Fulham shooting from left to right in the first half in those black jerseys with black shorts and socks, and it's the white and dark blue shorts of Tottenham Hotspur attacking the goal away to our left. Stuart Pearce knew how to play with heart and head, and I wonder how much of the front-footed form we saw in Paris we'll get from Tottenham Hotspur tonight.
Well, I think it's absolutely essential they do. You say the city of love and romance in Paris. There wasn't much love and romance done on Holloway Road last weekend either at Arsenal, was there?
It certainly wasn't.
They're going to have to say to their fans, if you're a Tottenham player out there tonight, you say, I'm going to get on the front foot and get some of these supporters off their seat and get behind us.
Paulinho just short of the halfway line, former Fulham player of the season from 22-23, tucks it back to Kevin Danso. This pitch still not back to being perfect after the NFL took up residence here. We saw it against Manchester United and it was bare in certain areas, and it certainly looks a little bit sketchy again tonight.
I'm just looking at the front line of Tottenham. They're playing with a back four, if you like, a 3 in midfield, varying, and then a sort of offset 3. It's a front 2 with Kudus playing on the right hand side, and they're expecting Udogie to get up and down and cover the whole wing like a wing back, but playing as a left back.
Yes, a bit like what we mentioned to Jamie O'Hara just before 7 o'clock tonight. Here is Kolo Muani on the halfway line, taking the ball in and feeding Kudus, who gets the ball back to Mickey Van der Ven, who is the joint top scorer in this Tottenham team. He plays it out wide towards the left, completely misjudges his pass. It goes straight out for a throw in front of the Fulham dugout down in front of us, and it's out for a throw in to Fulham and Kenny Tete. And if you're under any illusions about Tottenham's record here, let me furnish you with the dreary details. Spurs have won just 3 of their last 20 Premier League home games. dating back to November 2024.
Wow, that is a record.
Here is Jimenez picking the ball up after a mistake in midfield, one back by Polinia, but then picked up by Sander Berger. He touches it on to Wilson on the halfway line, and it goes back via Joachim Andersen, and Fulham start to build from the back with their goalkeeper Bernd Leno. 125 consecutive Premier League starts tonight. Out towards Calvin Bassey, who's made one or two crucial errors that have led to goals. He clips the ball high up into the air onto the chest of an uncontested Jimenez. It goes wide towards the left, and then coming forward down that far side was Chukwueze. He was dispossessed by Porro in the right fullback position. It's out for a throw-in to Fulham. 0-0.
Yeah, when Bassey played that ball from deep in his left back position, you couldn't believe the room that Jimenez had just to bring it down. No Tottenham defender anywhere near him on the halfway line.
Which was a bit of a surprise, really, wasn't it?
It certainly was.
Strange. Ball back on the edge of the 18-yard box that Fulham are defending, with Tete into Harry Wilson, who swings it round the corner, away by Danzo. Again, Iwobi's just got a little bit too much room to pick the ball up, no one challenging him, and now a run down the left from Sessegnon, who joins the attack, plays it out to Chukwueze on the far side. He attacks the penalty area, takes on Porro, beats him, gets into the area, keeps coming, then plays it loose to the edge of the box, and Tete is there, he's going to strike it, takes a deflection, and goes in past the stranded Vicario, and Fulham take the lead after 3 minutes and 30 seconds at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Fulham's away form and their goal record suggested that they wouldn't trouble many opponents on the road, but this is Tottenham and they're often in trouble here. It's 1-0 to the visitors. The goal has gone in, a deflection on the edge of the penalty area, and Tete has made them pay.
Well, the ball out wide weren't the greatest. Chukwueze managed to come inside too. He passed, and to be honest with you, he gave the ball away. It was a horrible pass. He just passed it to two Tottenham players. It went between them, and Tete was just behind them. Unfortunately for him, I don't think the pass was aimed at him. Managed to get a decent strike with a deflection, and it's the last thing Tottenham needed this early in the game.
It was Destiny Adoghi's 23rd birthday yesterday, but that little flick off his boot was a bit of a gift for Kenny Tete as it diverted it beyond Vicario. But you're right about that pass. I mean, when I first saw it, I thought he hasn't tried to do that, has he? I don't think he did, but it went past two Tottenham Hotspur players, and they got a little bit fortunate as the ball's played in by Kolo Muani, looking to feed Richarlison to go through the middle. Out comes the goalkeeper, and he picks it up and he will clear it away. Spurs 0, Fulham 1, and Faye Carruthers laid the gauntlet down to these two teams before the game. Live up to expectation, live up to the day. Well, we have our first goal already tonight. Right fullback Kenny Tete, who is Fulham's top tackler and has put them in front, manages to nudge the ball back to Anderson, but not before he's had a foul committed on him.
Just looking at Spurs, Sam, they look as though they've flattened out in midfield a little bit there, and Bergvall is the one on the left-hand side.
Here comes Jimenez down the right side again. Vicario's coming to the right fullback position, and he's out of his goal, and he's giving the ball away to Josh King, and he's in a right pickle, and they bent it in with Wilson. It's 2-0. Vicario with an absolute howler, giving the ball away after coming out to challenge Jimenez. Gives it straight to Fulham. It falls to Wilson, who's wide by the touchline on the right-hand side. On his left foot, he spots the open goal and curls it straight in. And Fulham are 2-0 in front inside 6 minutes. And it's the worst possible start for Thomas Frank and Tottenham Hotspur.
Well, Vicario's come way out of his box. He's got first contact on the ball, which was good. And then he's winding that left foot up. He's like Desperate Dan in this left back position, foot behind the back of his neck, got no contact really on the ball at all. But I've got to say, Wilson has just run onto the ball and whipped it. I don't think any of us saw a shot directly into the goal on them. We were looking down right below us, and it was a wonderful finish by a player that had the picture in his mind before he received the ball.
Oh, that's brilliant from Wilson, because there's not many people that have got the technical ability to be able to do that. Certainly to be able to spot it in that split second, because it wasn't on, it wasn't there for him, but he's taken it, and Tottenham are in real trouble now. And this is a big moment for Thomas Frank and this Tottenham Hotspur team. They're 2-0 down already. Here's Gray, edge of the area, trying to attack the goal away to our left. It's funneled away by Anderson, and the mood inside this stadium is not good, Stuart Pearce.
No, it's certainly not. There's a lot of Spurs fans off their seats berating the goalkeeper, and when they took the centre, he was getting dog's abuse, and he is now. He's getting booed every touch.
Here is Van de Ven, and he's asking everybody to calm down a little bit, Vicario, but ultimately it was his rush of blood to the head that cost Tottenham Hotspur dear. Here is Kudus on the right-hand side. It wasn't quite the same, but a bit similar to the decision-making that Nick Pope did on Tuesday night when we covered the game in the Stade Velodrome, and that cost Newcastle hugely.
Yeah, very much so. When he come off his line, Vicario, I thought he might have been getting there slightly late, akin to Pope, but he got there first. But you've got to clear the danger and put some height on the ball to give yourself recovery time to get back into the goal.
Ball thrown in by Danzo, a long one in towards the near post, away by Sonderberger. Fulham in a great possession here. They've scored 2 goals away from home. They never do that. 13 goals in all competitions so far this season for Fulham. They've only scored 4 first half goals in 25-26, but they've had 2 here in the first 9 minutes of the game, Stuart.
Yeah, they certainly have. And I've got to just go back to that Wilson finish there. The finish was brilliant, but the only way he can finish like that is if the ball to him was slow enough for him to come off that touchline and whip it with his left foot. And I think it was Josh King, might have been Iwobi, I'm not sure which, or even Teta, I'm not sure. But whoever played that pass was absolutely spot on and deserves every bit of an assist.
Well, the other thing that he could have done when he was under pressure in this near corner away to our right-hand side in the left full-back position, Vicario, he could have just kicked it out.
They get so conditioned with trying to keep possession of the ball and play out. Oh, trouble again.
Iwobi picks the ball up after a flick by Sonderberger, and racing through into the penalty area is Chukwueze. It might come back to him anyway. He flicks it despite the attentions of Van de Ven, and it takes a deflection and goes behind and out for a corner. But Tottenham Hotspur look all over the place. They were defending high up. Pedro Porro went in to try and snatch the ball on the halfway line. He didn't get it right. Iwobi turned it round the corner, and Chukwueze was only prevented from getting across to the far post by the speed of Mickey Van de Ven.
I've seen this once, and if he goes down, that's a penalty. I cannot believe, and I'm absolutely delighted for the young man that he stayed on his feet, because we see too much diving. But I tell you what, Van de Ven's missed the ball there. Yeah,
that was a mistimed challenge, wasn't it? He got up in pace, and it was a lunge from Van de Ven in towards the near post, flicked away by the palms of Vicario. Back out to Chukwueze, who's going to shoot. He's hit the post. The outside of the post rattles after Chukwueze bent the ball back towards Vicario's goal, and Tottenham are having a torrid time.
They can't believe what's happening to them at the moment, Spurs. The ball's come out to the edge of the box. Chukwueze has just drew the defender onto him. He should have really realised he's give his wicket away slightly on the edge of the box, but he's opened the goal up and just give it too much, and it's hit the outside of the post.
Van de Ven's just taken the goal kick, and he's just walloped it right up the other end of the pitch, and just thought, I think, just get this as far away from our goal as possible. 11 minutes gone, 2-0 to Fulham. Ball into the near post, a flick by Randall Kolo Mwani. Doesn't get enough purchase on the ball. It's defended by Fulham and cleared to the left-hand side. Retrieved by Porro. Now Gray. Wasn't a great ball by Pedro Porro, but now Mohamed Kudus has it, level with the edge of the penalty area. Looks to go down the outside. He's being aggressively pursued by Sessegnon. It goes back to Danso and then into Van de Ven. TalkSport on a Saturday evening, 8 o'clock, wherever you are. Thank you very much for lending us your ears if you're coming back from a day out Christmas shopping today, or you've been to see the relatives. Thanks for turning on the radio. We've got one hell of a blockbuster start to the game here. Porro floats the ball into the box, looking for Richarlison. I'm not entirely sure what he was trying to do there, because he led with his shoulder rather than his head as he jumped up over the back of the defender, and it goes straight into the arms of Bernd Leno away to our left. TalkSport, Saturday evening. Tomorrow we've got Crystal Palace against Manchester United from 12. We're round the grounds with myself and Alex Crook from 1:30 tomorrow, and we'll be at Chelsea versus Arsenal, which kicks off at 4:30. 2 o'clock tomorrow the show will start because the game's on till 2. Those oohs and ahs that you heard were because Vicario came out and kicked the ball out of play, Stuart.
I've got to say, if there's one thing that warms my heart, is sarcasm. It really is. And the sarcastic round of applause from everyone in this stadium, bar the Fulham fans, was brilliant.
Oh dear. I mean, you have to have a bit of a gallows humour if you're a Tottenham fan at the moment, don't you?
Well, you certainly do this evening. But I tell you what, once again, a good running behind. But Tottenham's defence is wide open. Van der Ven's gone into midfield to go and track Josh King, and they've just used that as a decoy and played the ball in behind, and they're wide open.
Oh, their home record is so bad. I mean, this time last year, actually, Brentford had their best home record in the Premier League, so it's such a change from Thomas Frank. Spurs could do with importing a bit of that Brentford home form that Thomas Frank engendered last year. Fulham's road form has been startlingly bad. They've lost their last 5 Premier League away forms, but they're 2-0 in front here, and they're coming forward again with Wilson out to Chukwueze, left side of the area into Wilson, too much for him, gets a shot away, blocked by Danzo, backing from the left hand side. Wilson tries to find Josh King inside the 6-yard box, but the offside flag was up anyway. It might have been handball against Josh King, and it's going to be a free kick right on the edge of the 6-yard box. But again, it's too easy for Fulham to get into the penalty area and come up with a moment that can penetrate this defence.
Yeah, but what they've done, they've gone from back to front really quickly, a give away a possession, but they've got 5 and 6 players in the box for them very, very quickly.
And Thomas Frank spoke yesterday about the pain he felt after the North London derby. PSG, he said, was better, and they still lost, and they're behind here. And if you look at the goals conceded column now, Stuart Pearce, Guillermo Vicario has conceded 13 goals in his last 3 games and 14 minutes.
That is a worrying statistic for any team.
Richarlison trying to get on the end of a brilliant ball by Pedro Porro, and for some reason he didn't get it under control. If he had done, he would have been within a chance of rounding the goalkeeper and making it 2-1.
Yeah, I think he just sliced the ball slightly, which took it away from Richarlison to give him some form of credit.
Oh dear. Jimenez getting in front of Danso, who was dithering, and now the ball's been played wide and Sessegnon is up with the attack. It's a low ball into the box. Wilson is onside here, is he? No. The offside flag is up. They should have let them put the ball in the net just in case.
This is why, I'll tell you what, that was marginal, to be fair. Very, very marginal. He was offside. I think the linesman got the correct decision. But I'm a bit umanari about when you stop games and when you don't. It was probably about a foot off.
I mean, that is one of those that if that had been allowed to continue, we'd have been sitting there for the next 2 minutes on a VAR check.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, no doubt about that. It was very, very close. But I don't understand when the officials are told to stop the game quickly and when they're allowed to let the game carry on.
Well, they're supposed to say if it's within sort of 5 yards, they're supposed to allow it to continue until the conclusion of the play.
Well, that was within 5 inches. I don't know about 5 yards, Sam.
It was very, very tight. And I don't understand why the referee decided to stop the game before Harry Wilson put the ball into an empty net. And he spared some more Tottenham blushes, that is for sure. They could have had a third here. Here is Wilson, just short of the halfway line. Picked up by Tete. A doggy brings him down, but the ball then flicks off Wilson, goes out. They want to throw in Fulham, they're not going to get it. It's going to go Tottenham's way. Fulham's start has been pretty stellar. 2-0 up. Another Tottenham meltdown at home. Can they show that they've got a bit about them? In fact, there was a former Tottenham player on the TalkSport breakfast show this week who said that Thomas Frank lacked the cojones to manage Tottenham Hotspur this week. Frank was asked about it in his press conference, handled it pretty well. He's a big boy. But the observation that Vega made about the lack of buy-in from the players does raise questions. Are they all on board with what he's doing? Does the dressing room believe in what he is offering them up?
I think the bottom line is, if you're the ownership of this football club, you would be in every rights to walk down to the dressing room and say, gentlemen, get in tune with the manager, because he's going to be here a long time, and you might not be if you don't get in tune with him. That would be my proviso on this one.
Well, they've got the balance wrong again today in terms of attack and defence, and they're having to defend here as a free kick is taken by Fulham. It comes through to Tete. Again, Jimenez manages to get hold of it too easily and bends the ball into the path of Chukwueze, who attacks down the left wing once more. Tries to feed it into Sessegnon, well stopped by Pedro Porro, who takes it towards the perimeter of the pitch over on the far side, and then tries to move upfield towards Kolo Muani. The ball cleared by Fulham and out for a throw-in over on the far side. 18 gone. You're listening to TalkSport. Earlier on today, Brentford beat Burnley by 3-1. Brentford into the top half as a result of that. Manchester City beat Leeds just about. They go up into second. Sunderland beat Bournemouth by 3-2, and they're into the top four now. And it's 2-0 here for Fulham. Newcastle winners away at Everton with a thumping 4-1 victory. They were 3-0 up at half-time. Well, Fulham could have been 3-0 up within 20 minutes here. The ball is with Josh King, who's brought to the floor by Mickey van der Ven. A free kick is given.
Yeah, I think the most alarming thing for Spurs, aside from the scoreline at the moment, is the fact that Fulham have found, probably on I would have thought 4 occasions at least, gaping holes in the back line. Here it goes again. Van der Ven stepped in all the way on Josh King, and that just leaves a cheddar gorge of a gap. In fact, he's got to press the goalkeeper now to centre off.
Why would he do that?
I don't know. I think you can pass Josh King over there personally to keep the shape of the back line.
And now Bergval's gone in late on Joachim Andersen inside the penalty area. An unnecessary challenge when he was trying to press the ball. The pressing actually was all right in the game against PSG. They started really well doing that, and then it just sort of tailed off. And they can get it right. You know, they got it right against Manchester City. They won 2-0 away from home. Their pressing was superb that day. But they've just absolutely gone gung-ho in their press and left so many gaping holes. And that's a foul by Bergval on Anderson, right on the edge of the area, which is going to generate a free kick. It's Tottenham 0, Fulham 2 on TalkSport with Sky Sports. And don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly live. Tottenham versus Fulham live right now. Search Now Sports.
It's an interesting one here. Bergval's gone to press Anderson, and Anderson's follow-through has ended up kicking Bergval. So I'm not overly sure that, well, the referee's not booked him, so he's not convinced it's the crime of the century.
Well, games like Arsenal and Chelsea, when the attack was so poor it barely registered on the XG Richter scale, is a problem for Thomas Frank. But the last week or so has been littered with goals going in at the other end too, and that's a massive issue, especially here. Richarlison trying to press the goalkeeper Leno. They send the ball out towards the far side. It goes out of play.
I'll tell you what Fulham have done really well. They're building up from a goal kick, and they leave 5 players across the halfway line, Fulham, against 4 defenders. Tottenham go and press it, and then Van der Ven's being drawn onto Josh King, and all of a sudden it's 3 against 2, or 4 against 3 in favour of Fulham, and there lies the problem.
And the other problem is, Stuart, is that because Tottenham defends with such a high line up to the halfway line, there is so much space in behind, as there is now, as the ball is spread out towards the far side. Sessegnon brings it down, just about keeps it in. He's got Chukwueze for company. Diving in was Danzo, good challenge. It goes out to Kudus over on the far side. He helps it on to Richarlison. Kolo Muani trying to get into the box, plays it against the defender, does Richarlison from the wide right position. As they just travel into the box, it bounces off Anderson's knees and goes out for a corner over on the far side. You're listening to TalkSport. 21 gone. It's Tottenham Hotspur 0, Fulham 2.
Yeah, Spurs are almost relying on pressing the ball and turning it over up the pitch. If they don't, and Fulham come through the press or play over it, they're outnumbered.
Here is the corner then, far side, to be taken by Mo Kudus. The goal now would be timely. It goes straight towards the near post, punched away by Bernd Leno. The clearance by Chukwueze is poor. Porro sends it back down the right. Poor delivery into the area by Kudus, and it's headed away by Kenny Teti to the edge of the centre circle. It's a doggy out wide now to Pedro Porro, who funnels it down the right touchline, gets the return from Mo Kudus, then tries to take on the defender, goes back out wide to Kudus again. Wilson is there. Porro with a cross into the box, fended away by Kenny Tete, and then Tottenham trying to keep the pressure on with Kudus over on the far side. He goes backwards towards the halfway line, and Destiny a doggy. Now it's into Palhinha, wide to Pedro Porro, very tight over on the far side, but everyone in black shirts of Fulham behind the ball at the moment. As Kudus gets into the penalty area, tries a little flick. The second cross is off a volley. It's a poor delivery into the 6-yard box by the head of Calvin Bassey, who put his teammate Anderson in trouble, and somehow Anderson spoons the ball over the top of the crossbar and out for a Tottenham corner.
Yeah, the ball's come in, and the only two that reacted to it basically was Bassey with a poor header, and then it's hit the knee of Anderson. If a Spurs player was in attendance...
Well, there wasn't anybody inside that 6-yard box. Another near post corner fisted away by Bernd Leno. Bergvall tries to chest it down. Over the top by Porro, looking for someone to attack it. Kolo Muani rises, just about out-muscles Sessegnon. Does well, does a little twist on the edge of the box. He's got support from Bergvall. Now tries to take on Sessegnon again. He's got the beating of him and he knows it. Low ball in towards the near post. No one's awake apart from a black shirt, and it's cleared away and it's out for a throw-in down by the corner flag.
Yeah, out of the Spurs players, probably Muani's getting the pick so far. He's held it up a couple of times early game, looked alright, and on that occasion certainly wanted the ball a touch more than Sessegnon. Second favourite, chased him out wide, took it off him.
Yeah, they certainly need Kolo Muani to work, don't they? They need that signing to come off. Danso in towards the near post, headed away, back to Danso again. Dear oh dear, such a lethargic delivery at the second attempt. Coming forward is Kenny Tete. Now Wilson fading the ball out to the far side. Good take by Josh King, who's manhandled by Mohamed Kudus. That's going to be a free kick over on the far side. Surely a yellow card, I would have thought. But Stuart Atwell, who has given more yellow cards than anybody else, is maybe saving the delivery of his cards for Christmas, and he keeps it in his pocket, Stuart.
He was actually out with his wife on, not in the biblical sense, but out with his wife for a coffee. She used to work for the FA, actually, a good friend of Carol's, so right. The three of us went out for a coffee. So.
It was very good that you quantified that in the end.
And she said she's looking forward to Christmas with no paperwork. You're correct.
Good. Here is a doggy down the left-hand side. Latte?
Cappuccino for me. I didn't connect with tea actually. Carol and her were tea merchants.
Right, okay. Here's the cross by Porro into the box, away by Calvin Bassey. It's picked up by Mickey van de Ven, and then it's infield to Kevin Danso, and the build-up continues for Tottenham Hotspur. Actually been on the front foot for the last 5 minutes or so, but they're already 2-0 down. They had to be. Archie Gray edge of the area, turning, spinning, trying to rifle a shot into the penalty area. It might have been a cross, really. It goes well wide of the goal and out for a goal kick away to our left-hand side.
Yeah, Spurs need something to fall for them at this moment in time. They've not really threatened the goal at all. No meaningful shots. Closest they've probably come to getting fans off their seat, a couple of corners that Leno's managed to get first contact on.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it, because we mentioned the statistics about the number of goals that they have scored this season as they look under pressure again. Chukwueze has stolen it from Porro. He goes round the goalkeeper. Mickey van de Ven wins the ball superbly to take it off of Chukwueze and prevent a certain Fulham goal. Absolutely terrific. Or was it? They're stopping it for a VAR check.
I'll tell you what, once again they've left 4-on-4 on the halfway line. No one challenges Jimenez. His aerial ability flicks it on. I think he's got enough of the ball there on that recovery challenge. I think, yes. No, I think he's okay. That's all right. That's a good challenge.
Well, he certainly gets a little bit of the ball and a loss of the man from a very difficult angle. He was not quite behind, but it was close.
Well, put it this way, it was an all or nothing challenge. If he doesn't make the challenge, it's going to roll into an empty net. And Marco Silva just holding his head there because he knows that probably finishes the game if they rattle the back of the net at that stage.
Checked and cleared.
Once again, Sam, they're in behind Tottenham's back line, and that must be 4 or 5 times.
Too many times in the opening 26 minutes of this game. 2-0 to Fulham, and we talked about the goals that Tottenham had scored this season, 20 of them, and the stats, the underlying data on the Spurs attack will tell you that some of that is likely to good fortune. You said they need that. A lot of the statistics suggest that they've got quite a bit. I don't know what Danso is doing here. He could have passed the ball back to his goalkeeper, but he waited for a foul instead, and then almost sort of fell on top of the ball.
Well, for me, there's too much of that goes on in the game. Players planting their feet and falling on the ball and basically relying on the referee's charity to give a free kick.
Strange decision by Kevin Danso. He's in for Romero, who is suspended today. Here's Bergvall. He's got 3 black shirts around him. He manages to find the white one in Paulinho, and they come out towards the left. We're in possession here, Tottenham Hotspur, building up on the halfway line with Gray, and then Van de Ven, and then into Kevin Danso. Gets the ball caught under his feet, plays it square, back to Pedro Porro, who can't get to the halfway line yet. Still Spurs being kept in their own half by the coordination of the Fulham attack, and Josh King just causing a bit of a problem for Van de Ven, who has to try and take the ball forward over the halfway line to get Spurs on the front foot. It's blocked by Tete on the near side as a doggy gets hold of it, and it goes out for a throw-in. And we're just having a replay of the Chukwueze attempt, and yes, he does get a right calf, I think, on the ball, Mickey Van de Ven. And then he does take the rest of Chukwueze, but I think having given the decision on field as a good tackle, there wasn't much chance that VAR were going to overturn that. I don't think it was a foul.
No, as I say, free kicks like that, if that was a free kick middle of the box, Chukwueze made a little bit more of it, it would have probably been given as a free kick. The fact he didn't make a deal of it, and it was for a penalty and it would have been a sending off potentially, I take it.
I would have thought so. 29 minutes gone. Certainly might be a debating point a little bit later on tonight. As FA Carruthers will look into that. 03717223344. You can WhatsApp us, voice notice, and any time 81089. Here is the free kick to Tottenham Hotspur. 25 yards from the edge of the penalty area. It's whipped in by Kudus towards the back edge of the box. Paulinho with a header that loops into the air and keeps alive. Leading with the elbow, Van de Ven ends up causing problems for Anderson, and Van de Ven then leans over and gives him a bit of verbals, and Van de Ven, who's been a little bit spicy actually in the opening half an hour of this game, just taking his frustration out on the Fulham defender Joachim Anderson, and he gets a yellow card as a result. And he's got to be a little bit careful, Van de Ven, because everything's a bit last ditch at the moment. That's 2 big last ditch tackles that he's had to put in. That's a rather physical challenge when going for the ball inside the penalty area, and I think he's just got to tone it down, otherwise he could find himself in Romero territory.
I'll tell you what, I can see why Van de Ven was livid. He's made no contact at all with the face of Anderson, who's gone down holding his face. So, you know, somewhere down the line, I think the game has got... We've had a young man at the right end of the pitch that stayed on his feet that could have drew 2 penalties that he hasn't done, and we've got to reward that. At the other end of the pitch, Van de Ven's got booked for something he hasn't done because Anderson's gone down holding his face.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether he was booked for the challenge or whether he was booked
for reaction,
which is why I think he's just got to be a little bit careful. They're also playing a very weird position today, or the tactics that they're employing is a little bit strange, because every time the ball comes forward, he looks like he's slightly out of the line and desperate to charge forward and go into a sort of more aggressive press.
Yeah, he does, and it's leaving his teammates high and dry, and they're not covering the gaps that are being left.
Here is Van de Ven. In possession just over the halfway line. 2-0 to Fulham. Ball clipped out by Bergvall towards the far side, taken on by Kudus, and then with Pedro Porro setting it to cross, blocked by Sessegnon, and now Danzo's got to deal with Raul Jimenez, and then that's a poor attempt at trying to keep the ball in by Pedro Porro, and Jimenez has the throw. Oh dear. He's tried to throw the ball quickly with Sessegnon, then he's tried to stop himself, but by which time he sort of almost half released the ball and just foisted it straight into the ground and fallen over, and it's gone down as a foul throw, and Tottenham have the ball.
I think I've just seen the shortest long throw ever. Actually, to be fair, he hit his toes with it. It was that far away, you know, and you'd only get a long throw if you threw it and it landed on the end of Crook's toes, you know what I mean, that are at least 30 foot away from his New Delhi.
Do you reckon he's... Yes, Alex Cook, TalkSport's chief football correspondent, and I think chief entertainment officer as well.
It is Christmas.
It is. Bassi up over the halfway line. A ball out of play over on the far side. 32 minutes gone. You're listening to Talk Sport. It's currently Tottenham Hotspur 0, Fulham 2. The latest odds are available for you from Betfair, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage. Well, right now you can back Tottenham Hotspur to win at 9-1. The draw is 5-1. You can back Fulham to win at 4-1 on. And that's all thanks to Betfair, playing a different league this season with safe sub from Betfair. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org. Teddy Sheringham is in attendance today. Good old Teddy. He's done a bit with us in the past. He's a good bloke, is Teddy. And he's here watching on and watching his former team Spurs toil against Fulham. Conceded 2 goals. The first one from Kenny Tete after maybe a fortunate pass rolled across the edge of the penalty area. Tete hit it, took a deflection and went in. And then the second goal from Harry Wilson. Well, it was a rush of blood to the head by Guillermo Vicario, who came out of his goal, didn't get rid of the ball and ended up giving it straight back to Fulham in a dangerous area. But it was a terrific finish from Wilson. You can't take anything away from him. He scored a terrific goal and it's 2-0.
I think the way the game's going at the moment, we're 30 odd minutes into it, Fulham will be thinking and Marco Silva will be thinking we need this third, because Spurs have got to improve in the second half, and a goal back from Spurs, the crowd will come to the party again, and we've seen it so many times.
Well, Tottenham have made the most errors leading to shots and the second most errors leading to goals in the Premier League this season. They made another one today, and that has cost Thomas Frank really dear. I feel a bit sorry for him, really, to be honest with you. I'm not entirely sure the setup is right, because there are too many gaps in the Tottenham defence that are appearing because they're being a little bit gung-ho with their press, and there's not enough urgency to close the Fulham players down. But you can't really legislate for a goalkeeper making a mistake like that. That really has cost him today.
I'll tell you who's done quite well so far in the match-up on the pitch. I think Sessegnon, I always weren't sure about his defensive work. He's dealt really well with Kudos today on those one-on-one scenarios.
Yep, loves to get forward. He's had the most touches in the opposition penalty area for Fulham, but it's as a left-back in which he's being employed by Marco Silva in recent games. Here is Van de Ven, up to Kolo Muani, does well to hold on to the ball. It spills after a slide tackle on halfway from Anderson, and Kudus has it, runs diagonally from centre out to the left. A doggy with a ball into the box, but the offside flag is up, and he shouldn't be offside there, Destiny Udogie. He knows it, his teammates know it, and it's more frustration for this rather irate Tottenham Hotspur Stadium crowd.
Yeah, it was a good decision. Once again, a very marginal decision that we're told has to be played on, but obviously not anymore. But Kudos was the architect for the offside there, because he's held on to the ball. That ball should have been played first or second touch. He dribbled, and the doggy straight offside.
In the Championship today, Coventry maintain their 10-point lead. Sheffield United 2 points clear of the relegation zone now after their victory over Leicester, who have got a little bit of trouble. And there were loads of goals in the Championship today, as well as loads of goals in the Premier League today. We've had 21 in 4.5 games. 2 here, and both of them have gone to Fulham. Tottenham Hotspur 0, Fulham 2. And the last time that they won away from home was at the end of last season, Fulham. Here is Collini's played it straight to Kenny Tete. Don't play with him anymore, fella. Ball picked up by Josh King. Lovely little touch into Harry Wilson. Skill on the edge of the box. Tries to take it down and come infield. He's managed to do so. Udogie goes across and manages just to nudge the ball away just about. And Tottenham get out of another tight spot. But it just feels as if that there's always more energy and more application from the away side than there is from the home team, who are just far too sloppy in possession of the football. Kolo Muani's been their brightest spark. He's trying to take on Calvin Bassey. Bassey and Kolo Muani fighting for the ball. The decision goes Bassey's way in the left fullback position, and much to the chagrin of Kolo Muani, it's a free kick to Fulham.
Yeah, it was really good play by Bassey from the offset. He's won the ball, and then he's put his foot across Muani, and Muani sort of in his attempt to get the ball has bumped into the back of him, and Fulham will be happy just to slow the tempo with this game down slightly.
There's a milestone for Marco Silva tonight. His first game in charge, a 1-1 draw against Middlesbrough on the 8th of August 2021. He becomes the first Fulham manager to take charge of 200 games since Ray Lewington in February 1990. Only Chris Coleman has taken more matches as a Fulham Premier League manager, and Silva has got the best win ratio of any Fulham manager in the Premier League.
It was funny, Chris Coleman. I was Manchester City manager. We're playing at the Cottage in a league game, Premier League game, and I'm manager. And he walks out of his technical area, comes over to me and says, "Can you sleep?" I went, "Yeah, I sleep quite well." He went, "I haven't slept for 2 years," and walked off again. I think he was talking about the pressures of management.
Yeah, that's a good assumption. I mean, he might not have been.
Yeah, indeed.
Given away by Gray. Picked up and travelling forward is Chukwueze, turning and feeding the ball into Josh King. King's just trying to dance towards the edge of the box. He's got such a good manipulation of the football, and Tottenham can't win it back off him. It's Iwobi now. Flicks it forward. Too easy for Chukwueze. Got support on that left-hand side. Chukwueze continues, trying to get into a crossing position. Bends the ball into the box. Jimenez going for it, but Van der Ven gets in front of him and nudges it behind, and it's away for another corner for Fulham.
The non-existent pressure on the ball in Tottenham's back third is a major concern. Fulham can wrestle on the ball, can just sit. They've got time on the ball. If they haven't got a pass on, they just sit on the ball and wait for someone to make a movement to find a pass.
Corner far side. Harry Wilson is going to drift this one in. It's been a front-footed Fulham performance so far, and Tottenham are finding it very difficult. Bent out towards the penalty spot. Anderson up there with a header. It drops inside the box. There's a bit of pushing and shoving going on. Josh King ends up on the floor, sandwiched between two white shirts. A throw-in is going to be given over on the far side. Josh King just glancing at Stuart Atwell. The referee says nothing doing, and it's going to be a long throw over on the far touchline, which Sessegnon is going to try and power in. Berger goes up into the centre of the penalty area as the ball loops up towards the near post. It wasn't a very long throw at all, and it was easily away by Richarlison in the end. They'd all lined up at the back post, but there was no chance of it ever reaching the danger zone. In the end, it goes all the way back to Bernd Leno, away to our left, and they'll build again. Left-footed whip on the ball from Wilson, up into the Tottenham half of the field. A leap by Danzo, but the first contact again is a black Fulham shirt. It goes through to Vicario, but it's been, I think it's been pretty tepid from Tottenham again today. They've had a brief sort of moment where they were putting Fulham under sustained pressure, but really and truly Fulham have looked the likeliest of scoring again.
Yeah, I've got to concur with that. That is certainly the case. They'll need something from somewhere, a goal even, whether it be a mistake from a Fulham defender or whatever it may be. They need something to give them a lift.
Brilliant from Josh King after good work from Bassi to win the ball back over on the far side. Wilson made a run through the centre. It wasn't spotted, and if it hadn't been, he was freeing loads of green grass. And it was a bit fortunate, Tottenham Hotspur, that the ball went all the way back to Anderson. Sessegnon, under pressure from Kudus, turns it back to Bernd Leno. Immediately lifts the ball forward into midfield. It wasn't particularly accurate. There was a collision between King and Anderson. The ball is turned over by Berger, but Tete had fouled Kolo Muani before that. It's going to be a free kick 9 yards in front of the centre circle, just left of centre, with 4.5 minutes to go before half-time. In 26 Premier League matches, Tottenham have at least salvaged a point after being 2 or more goals down in a Premier League match. They're accustomed to going down by 2 or more goals and getting themselves back in a game, with only Manchester United doing so on more occasions in the history of the competition, 30 times.
Well, and that's probably United's team viewed in a slightly different context than Tottenham's team, I would say.
Yes, maybe we're being a little bit optimistic, but, trying to keep people interested. Here is Porro into the box, away by Wilson, picked up by Chukwueze. Now Josh King is escaping on the counter-attack. He has got company. Destiny Udogie pinches the ball, just about. And then Kudus sees it back to the goalkeeper. Vicario away. It's up towards Kolo Muani. Headed down by Sander Berger. Collected by Iwobi. 2-0 to Fulham here on TalkSport Live on this Saturday evening, on the night where Manchester City have won at home dramatically. Brentford have beaten Burnley. Sunderland have come back from 2 goals down against Bournemouth to win 3-2. And Newcastle United have thrashed Everton. a doggy to take the throw-in on this left-hand side. He tosses the ball to the halfway line with Richarlison, held it for about a second, then lost it. Wilson plays it against the Brazilian. It's a throw-in to the visitors, and just like every now and again you just look at the Tottenham body language when something doesn't quite go their way, and it doesn't look very good. It looks a little bit sort of, I don't know, baffled, a bit sort of, not like they're giving up, but a little bit so frustrated with the way things are going. They almost feel as if the weight of the world is on their shoulders. Maybe for Thomas Frank it feels like that as the ball goes out towards the far side. Pedro Porro gets to the halfway line, doesn't go quick enough over it, and the fans don't like that. It's sent wide towards the right hand side, and Kudus goes on the out. Tries to get to the byline. Sessegnon sticks with him eventually. It goes back to Porro, who's crosses the box towards Colomwani, travels through the area, away by Tete, and then further cleared by Anderson towards the halfway line. 2.5 to go before the break. Can Tottenham do something right at the end of the first 45? Bergvall out wide towards the right. Kudus. Oh, it was such a bad ball. It was cut out by Josh King. He then gave it away rather cheaply, and if he hadn't have done, there was a chance for Fulham to break. They've invited more pressure. Gray, Colomwani, inside right position. Good challenge by Iwobi, and Sessegnon takes no chances and puts it out far side away for a throw-in by the corner flag. You're listening to Tottenham Hotspur 0, Fulham 2 on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
Yeah, Spurs, they've got the outlet on the right-hand side, which is Kudus, but he's being dealt with really well by Sessegnon, and because they're now not playing anyone on the left-hand side, they've got no punch down this side.
90 seconds to go before the end of the first half, and Thomas Frank can't wait to get them in. Ball sent out towards Richarlison, but Tete is there. Wilson scurrying to keep it in far side. Does that brilliantly. Keeps hold of it. Sends it back to Tete, who then goes long up towards Josh King. Ball bounced uncomfortably for him, so it went over his head, and Danso could retrieve it in the centre circle. And now they move forward down the left-hand side with Archie Gray. Tottenham trying to find a way to pierce this Fulham back line before we get to the break here. At the moment, it's Fulham who are looking to take 3 points on the road. Oh dear, given away by Pedro Porro cheaply to Chukwueze. And Fulham have it back again in the left full-back position. Clipped up by Sessegnon. I think he was aiming for Jimenez, but just got a little bit wrong-footed there, Jimenez. And it was away by Danso. Gray travelling with it, sending it wide. Now on to Kudus, who runs at pace towards the edge of the area, feeds it into Gray. Gray with a chance to cross. It's a good one towards Richarlison, but well stationed was Tete once more, who clips it out to the near touchline. A doggy retrieves it, tries to get to the edge of the area, gives it to Van der Ven, who smashes it goalwards left-footed. It's over the top of the crossbar.
I'll tell you what, where we've got to give Fulham credit for, whether it be from corners or free play, they've defended the box really well from crosses coming in, I've got to say.
Well, I don't know how au fait you are with the expected goals metric, Stuart. I imagine because of your work in the West Ham United recently, you are fully across it.
I enjoy my XG.
Do you?
It's fair to say.
Well, would you like to know the Tottenham XG for today?
It'd certainly be less than 1.
Yes, it's less than 0.1. It's 0.01.
Oh my goodness me.
Which basically says that during the course of this first half, of which there are now 3 added minutes, Tottenham have had a 1% chance of scoring a goal in the first half.
Wow. And I can't remember that 1%, can you?
No, I think someone did look at the goal though. There was certainly a point where that happened. Yes, a 1% chance of scoring a goal in the first half. Pretty damn poor. And if you go back to the Chelsea game, it was the same. You go back to the Arsenal game, it was the same. And I was going to talk to you about statistics earlier on about the fortune. You know, that their XG is so low that the number of goals that they've got actually belies the fact they don't create that many chances. Really, they kind of rely on moments of magic to get them on the score sheet often.
I think the difference between them and Fulham today, Fulham have played the ball and running behind without the ball, and they've also built up and played through. They've mixed it up a little bit. Tottenham, on the other hand, have failed to get behind fullbacks on either side and built up a little bit too slowly.
Kudus trying to find Bergvall far side. gets it back again right edge of the penalty area, tries to take on Sander Berge. He does get a cross into the area, but it's headed away by Josh King. Down by Porro. I think some of that is that when you do get the ball into the box and you're Tottenham, and we've seen it a couple of times, if it's dropped inside the 6-yard box, it's usually a Fulham shirt that gets on the end of it. Here's Kudus with a chance to cross into the centre. Again, good defending by Anderson, and now a chance to break for Fulham. And Josh King is being chased by Polinia. He holds onto it beautifully and then sends it wide towards the left. Chukwueze into Iwobi. Didn't see that Richarlison was coming. Richarlison has injured himself in the process of committing that tackle. He does now get to his feet gingerly as the ball's worked out towards the right. The cross into the box takes a deflection in the last minute of stoppage time at the end of the first half. Tottenham Hotspur have a corner, trailing by 2-0.
It would be interesting to see the stats of balls played into the box and first contact by a Fulham header. I can't remember a Spurs header, and there must have been exactly at least 15 to 20 crosses coming from corners, from free play, you name it.
Yeah, that's the point I was making. You get the ball in the box, and there is no presence. Here is the delivery now, and it's towards the far post. That's not a good one from Kudus. It goes straight to the 6-yard box now the other side. And when they do have a presence in there, so it goes towards Kolo Muani or to Richarlison. Actually, Fulham have defended it pretty well, and that's why they lead by 2-0, and Spurs haven't had the ability to lay a glove on them up until this point. There is the half-time whistle, and that soundtrack tells its own story. With just 3 wins in 12 games before tonight, the pressure was already starting to weigh on the shoulders of Thomas Frank. But after a huge mistake by Vicario that led to a Wilson corker, and Kenny Tete had already put them in front, Fulham lead, and that pressure feels a lot heavier. Spurs have to come from behind at home from 2 goals down. That doesn't happen very often, but they have done it before. And at half-time, before they leave the pitch, all of the Tottenham players are on the halfway line, not in a huddle, but having a discussion about what on earth happened in that first 45 minutes. Lots to discuss with Faye and Stewart at the break. Tottenham 0, Fulham 2. No is the answer for Tottenham Hotspur. Everybody who was selected in the first half is back out again for the second. And that means only one thing, Stuart Pearce, that Thomas Frank has said, go and sort this situation out yourselves.
Well, that's the way it looks. I also try to put myself in his mindset as well. To get another wide player in Johnson on, Bergvall's done okay, he would probably be the natural one to come off. But if you wanted to do it and keep Bergvall on the pitch, because he's been steady away for Tottenham, you might have to take one of your strikers off, and that's something you can't do because it sends a terrible message out of the crowd, and they'll say, we need a goal, and you've taken one of our front two off.
Well, no Premier League side has had fewer first half shots this season than Tottenham Hotspur, and they looked inadequate in front of goal in that first 45 minutes. Thomas Frank actually said he felt better in his body after Wednesday night's game with PSG because Tottenham really competed. Well, they haven't competed well enough in this first 45. Let's see what they've got in the second. Archie Gray about to kick off. White shirts, dark shorts and white socks attacking the goal away to our right. It's all black for the visitors who lead by 2-0, shooting towards the left in the second 45. And I'll go through the 2-11s in just a second, but Porro has just launched the ball towards the edge of the Fulham penalty area from deep in the right side of the pitch. He's picked it up after it was repelled first time, and then it's fallen to Kolo Muani, who strikes on the volley after it's chested down by Bassi, but it hits Bassi in the midriff and is cleared away by Fulham. Picked up by Chukwueze, who sends it on to Josh King. Van de Ven used his speed to accelerate to get back in front of King and sees it back to his goalkeeper.
I'll tell you what, Bassi done brilliant there. Firstly, he got first contact, but it got away from him. And then when he was there, he stood tall and proud and blocked the shot brilliantly.
Yeah, he's quite a character, Calvin Bassi. He's a good talker. He had a little bit of a misjudgment. I think the ball just sort of kicked up off the turf onto his body, but it came back into Kolo Muani, and it was a really good bit of defending. He made himself massive with his chest to manage to clear for Tottenham. Iwobi escapes the attentions of Bergvall, gets to the far side, keeps possession, and then brings the ball back in field. There's a lot of empty seats inside this stadium. In fact, there's 46,000 season ticket holders at Tottenham, and I was told earlier on a lot of the tickets had been high proportion of them, but there was a bigger than normal number were set up for resale this time around. Maybe it's the kick-off time, maybe it's that time of the year, but I just wonder how many empty seats there will be in this second half. As Sessegnon goes down the left, a chance to cross, poor delivery actually. If he'd sent it, driven it to the near post, Wilson was there. Oh, Vicario with a poor throw out, almost gave it away to Kenny Tete. More pressure from Fulham, and Josh King commits a foul on Bergvall, and again Stuart Atwell blows the whistle, and it's a bit of a reprieve for Tottenham Hotspur. 2 minutes gone second half. It's not been the most tidy start to the second 45 for Tottenham. It remains 2-0 Fulham.
Yep, and they'll need to put some pressure on this Fulham goal if they want to get back into the game. At the moment, slow build up from Spurs once again.
Well, the last time that Fulham won an away game, they beat Thomas Frank's Brentford. And Fulham are unbeaten in their last 3 Premier League meetings, with Spurs having lost 14 of the previous 16 prior to that. Tottenham's last win, 2-0, October 2023. Both goals coming following intercepted Calvin Bassey passes, finished off by Son and Maddison. The result at the time put Tottenham top of the Premier League, 23 points from 9 games, October 2023. They were 2 ahead that day of second place Manchester City. That feels like a very long time ago. Loose from Randall Kolo Muani, and Harry Wilson trying to win it, but Richarlison funnels back into position and just tucks it back to halfway. Van de Ven sends it wide. The doggy travels forward. Showed too much of it to Kenny Tete. It was not a great challenge, and a yellow card is going to come out here for Destiny Udogie over on the far side. It's going to be a free kick to Fulham, 5 yards outside the box, wide on the right.
Yeah, this was a strange one, this. Udogie's run with the ball, and he's the one in possession of the ball, and he's the one who's committed the foul. Which, to be fair, I'm not overly sure. It was a foul, but I'm not sure it's a booking. He's overrun the ball, put his foot on the ball, fell over, and fell into the oncoming defender.
Just wonder if it's because he sort of misjudged the ball. He was stretching, his foot went over the top of the ball, and that caused him to almost go up on his knee and crunch into Kenny Tete. And it's going to be a free kick on the edge of the penalty area, 6 yards in front of the 18-yard line. Jimenez does brilliantly to take it away from Palhinha, and Josh King running down the inside right channel, didn't feed him, goes wide instead to Wilson. King comes over and takes over right wing position now for Fulham, who lead by 2-0. King back in field, and it's taken on by Anderson, who sweeps it back into space for Kenny Tete. Wilson stays onside, will try to, and then obviously didn't time his run properly because the offside flag went up very quickly on the far touchline. It's going to be a free kick to Tottenham.
I tell you what, once again, a ball's travelled 50 odd yards up into the back line of Tottenham, and it's been that man Jimenez jumped, chested it down, got possession. That can't happen. You can't let that happen. Danso's is probably the size of him, if not slightly bigger, isn't he, than Jimenez. He's got to win headers there.
There's just not enough pressure on the ball. There's not enough aggression from the Tottenham defenders. You know, it's so easy for Fulham to play football in the middle of this pitch. They can get hold of it, they can knock it about. There's spaces that they shouldn't be, and that's been the case since the beginning of the game. Here's Vicario and Bernd Leno away to our right hand side, sending it long. Again, Danso doesn't win a header. There's a little bit of contact with Jimenez, but the referee's allowing play on because Tottenham have the ball. 51 gone. Fulham's only win since 2003 against Tottenham was back in 2013. Dimitar Berbatov scored against his former team. Fulham were managed by the former Tottenham boss Martin Jol at the time. The only away win, that is, since 2003. It is Derby Day, and Tottenham don't have a good record on Derby days. Not recently, anyway. And they're struggling here, tossing the ball around amongst themselves inside the centre circle. Porro decides to advance forward, comes inside Chukwueze, goes wide out to Kudus. Kudus now looking to take on the fullback Sessegnon. He hasn't been able to beat him so far today. Looks to exchange passes with Porro. Now he does go on the outside of Sessegnon, but he adjusts his position and comes back to defend the Ghanaian, who's travelling down the right side of the box. Sets it back for Porro. Eventually he goes on the outside, tries to get across him, blocked by Sessegnon, whose defending has been very good today. It's out for a corner.
Yeah, he's been outstanding at the moment. You know, Chukwueze has got back and doubled up on occasion, but in the main he's had to deal with things one-on-one and done it extremely well.
Corner kick for Tottenham Hotspur, and remember the set plays have been pretty good from Tottenham this season. They've scored 6 goals from corners in the Premier League so far this campaign. Only Arsenal have got more. Here is Kudus in towards the near post, pushed away by Bernd Leno, who's under pressure from Mickey van de Ven. He did brilliantly. Wilson trying to escape on the counter, couldn't feed it to Chukwueze. Run back by Kudus. Wilson just explaining to Chukwueze, if you're going to play in this team, you've got to work a lot harder than that. He didn't quite show the intent that was required when they lost the ball there. Here is Udogie, centre field. Everybody in black shirts behind the ball for Fulham. Tottenham's trying to get down the right side. Wilson with a challenge. The assistant on this near side, Konstantin Hatzidakis, didn't know which way to put the flag, but Harry Wilson was assertive in indicating a throw-in and got it.
Yeah, just put his hand in his pocket, got out a 2-bob, flicked it up in the air, fell heads, so he just pointed in Fulham's direction.
It was Towers, actually. The score is Tottenham 0, Fulham 2 on TalkSport with Sky Sports. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly, like Tottenham against Fulham live right now. Search Now Sports. Van de Ven halfway, who's been aggressive in the game, sends the ball down the right side looking for Richarlison. A bit of pushing and shoving from Bassi. The referee lets that go. Richarlison's not happy about it and is demonstrative about it. Jimenez wins it back, ball released up to Wilson. Wilson trying to poke it through to Josh King, and King is running through into the penalty area, cuts back, tries to go beyond the defender, loses his footing, but then manages to regain it, sends it back to the edge of the area, and by that time a Tottenham player in Polinia gets back to win the day.
Once again, ball through Tottenham's back line, Josh King in on goal, and he's just lacking at this moment a bit of physical strength, isn't he? You know, that's technically very good with the ball at his feet. When he buffs out a little bit and gets a bit more physical strength, the older he gets, he will be some player.
Yeah, well, he's still a teenager and he's played more minutes than any other teenager in the Premier League this season, Josh King. He is a very good technical player and he's got a good future ahead of him. And Stuart has already explained what he would do if he was a recruitment guy at one of the big clubs, and that is to lay a load of money down and go and get him.
He's a talent.
Kudus played into Archie Gray. Gray in field and finding Mickey van de Ven. Fulham again just quite happy to sit back and wait for Tottenham to try and come upon them and then try and hit them on the counter-attack now, because Tottenham have got to try and drive the agenda here. They trail by 2-0. Kolo Muani up to the edge of the penalty area. Anderson does well, wins it. Now Wilson's got it. Wilson, if he can bend that round the back, there's a bit of space there, but he tries to go infield to Iwobi instead, and Gray was alert to the danger and wins it back. He tries to nudge it forward. Bergvall sends it back to Udogie. The Tottenham crowd wanted to play forward and play it quicker, but they're not. They're slow in the build-up and almost meandering up towards the attacking third. Sent out wide by Polinia, finds Kudus, chance to cross, a low one which takes a deflection off of Sessegnon, and it's out for a corner.
Archie Gray's probably as guilty as most of playing and slowing the game down slightly. You know, he's a neat player, he likes little 1-2s, give and goes, that type of thing. And I think maybe he might be one giving way to a couple of substitutions very, very shortly.
And substitutions are about to be made. Here is Kudus though, delivering the ball towards the far post. That's going to go straight out of play, and it's out for a goal kick away to our right. There's going to be a triple change here from Tottenham. Thomas Frank is not going to wait any longer to try and make alterations. Bentancur is one of those coming on. Xavi Simons is another. So there's going to be significant changes here for Tottenham Hotspur. And we'll see what impact these new fresh blood can make from the bench. Jimenez trying to rise and read the flight of that ball. He didn't quite catch it, and Danzo turns it over, and now it's picked up by Kolo Muani, and then he's engaged by Iwobi, comes back out to the right, Porro with a cross, Kolo Muani with a header and ripples the side netting. Half the crowd thought it was in, it wasn't. It ripples the side netting this side of the post rather than just inside it. It was a really good delivery from Pedro Porro. Finally someone in a Spurs shirt connected with it. and it went narrowly wide.
Yeah, I've got to say it's that cross in by Porro again. We've seen it time and time again. He's an outstanding crosser. Your typical right back just whipped it in, a bit of curl coming back towards the forwards, and Mawani done brilliantly.
And slipped by Leno as he kicked it. This sent it straight back for Spurs. Danzo finds Porro. His ball this time deflects off Anderson and goes behind and out for a corner kick. I think that sort of came off the top of his knee and then onto his chest and bounced behind. And for the first time really, Tottenham just putting a bit of pressure on the Fulham backline, and they look a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, just to describe it the best way, it was almost like a bouncer coming down, run it at Lord's. And he's put his bat up, he skimmed off his bat, hit his chest and gone into the slip area.
Ashes ongoing, and the second test starts overnight later in the week. You'll be able to follow everything on the TalkSport Cricket YouTube channel and get all of the reaction to every day's play. Here is the corner taken by Kudus in towards the near post, headed away by Wilson. Back in by Pedro Porro, who actually declined the cross and sent it to Kudus instead. Kudus then doesn't fancy his chances, so checks back and then goes on the outside again, right-footed, clips it up towards the far post. Polina trying to keep it alive. He's a little bit wider out. He goes out of the area actually, fires it into Bergvall, and then Udogie tries to go back towards the near touchline. Now it's with Kudus, travelling at speed, gets it onto his left foot. His cross is not a good one, comes back to Porro, strikes it, and now there are men over. Again, Fulham just not with the right decision to get out, and Kudus is back in here, and he's volleyed the ball into the top corner from just inside the area. His first goal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for Mo Kudus. He smashes it in towards the near post and beyond the goalkeeper. It was a little bit fortunate, but it's Mohamed Kudus into the top corner to put Tottenham on the scoreboard and maybe give them a lifeline.
If anything, you've heard a criticism of Fulham's performance, and it's been very good so far today. They've been a little bit lightweight in giving the ball away on occasion when they've turned it over, either being muscled out or a stray pass, and that was a point in case there, given away fairly cheaply by Wilson, and then Kudus took it on his chest and hit it. And I thought Leno got a hand to it, but it's beat him at his near post with his top hand, and you would expect him to do slightly better, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it was a strong strike, wasn't it, from Mohamed Kudus? But they are going to make the changes now. Archie Gray is coming off, and so is Richarlison. On comes Odegaard. Xavi Simons coming on, Bentancur coming on, and we're just waiting for the final name. Looks like Jean Polina is the other one. So Polina off, Archie Gray off, Richarlison off, and on comes Xavi Simons, Wilson Odegaard, and Rodrigo Bentancur. Let's see what happens next to it.
Yeah, we've got a game on our hands now. It only takes one goal in the Premier League and all of a sudden things get a little bit more exciting around the stadium.
And Marco Silva will be absolutely apoplectic if his team throw a 2-goal lead away from home, having established it in that first 7 minutes. We'll have all the interviews and reaction with Majestic. Jermaine Pennant, I think, is on the weekend sports bar tonight from 10 o'clock, the sports bar weekender, as they call it. Madgen Pennant, as I mentioned earlier. 03717223344 is the number to call, and you can text them as well, 81089. Ball sent long by Calvin Bassey. Bergvall fighting with Chukwueze for the ball. It goes out of play and away for a throw-in on this near side, and Fulham just gained a little bit of yardage and moved down the touchline. Just a little conversation going on between Marco Silva and his coaching staff, and maybe a little bit of a discussion about who they might think about bringing on now as we get to the latter part of the game. They've got Adama Traore on the bench, Sasa Lukic, Kevin, the record signing.
Yeah, I think at this stage I will be looking at Chukwueze. I think maybe If you want to shore things up a little bit down this left-hand side, Spurs, that's where the dangers come from all game really, with a little bit of danger that they've offered anyway.
Well, again, I don't think there was particularly a big chance of Kudus scoring that effort from inside the box as Udogie goes down after a collision with Jimenez, but he took it so well, he smashed it left-footed high into the top corner of the net, the near corner, and that gave Tottenham a foothold in the match for the first time really.
Yeah, if we had a goalkeeper here to question in regard, Leno's gone with his top hand, hasn't he, for this near corner, and you're thinking probably his left hand would have been the better one, his lower hand if you like.
So it's almost like if you can imagine that the ball's gone in from the right corner of the penalty area into the near post, with Leno facing you, he uses the arm furthest away from the ball to try and reach it over his body to try and stop it, and he doesn't quite get anything on it, and it goes in above his head and it ripples the net, and it means that it's currently Tottenham 1, Fulham Football Club 2.
Yeah, and to be fair, you explained it really well, even with body language as well.
Well, we don't have a con-cam, do we, sadly? Here is Kudus on the near side, trying to get a cross in. It's blocked by Sessegnon, and then Colomwani tried to keep it in. I'm not sure whether he got a touch on it or not. I think he's given a goal kick, hasn't he? Yeah. And there was a little bit of hesitancy there from the referee as he communicated with his assistant as the goal kick is given.
I think his assistant give a corner, I think, and whether Stuart Atwell was tipped off by someone up in the clouds.
Haven't had much cloud today. Well, actually, it was raining earlier. I can't see it now because it's dark. Maybe we have had clouds. It's been a long day. Ball sent long by Leno, out towards the near side. Danso wins first contact, forward by Bassi, picked up by Sessegnon. Iwobi being engaged by Bergvall, and does brilliantly, Iwobi, to get the ball forward, but two Fulham players go for the same ball, and again, she's not making the right decisions when they get clear, Fulham, and that's been sort of like the issue. The goal that they did score, Tottenham, came because Fulham didn't release the ball upfield quick enough, and now Colomwani might get in behind here, but Kenny Tete with a rescue challenge on the edge of the area as the ball's spilt.
And the linesman puts his flag up on that occasion. I can't work this out, what the directive is at the moment, Sam.
It's been a little bit sketchy, hasn't it, today, in terms of those flags have not stayed down when offside flags have been a little bit spurious. 0.19 expected goals in the second half for Tottenham Hotspur, none for Fulham so far. They haven't troubled Vicario away to our left. We're going to have to do something now. Emil Smith-Rowe, the former Arsenal player, and Sasa Lukic are going to come on for the away side. The visitors that lead by 2-1 as Marco Silva tries to turn the tide here. There's a little bit of momentum about Tottenham. Cheaply given away though by Destiny Udogie. Sander Berge just in front of the centre circle inside his own half. Up to Iwobi, who's out-muscled by Bergvall. Bergvall helps it on into the path of Kudus, who races forward to the edge of the area. It comes out of Porro. He's low foot in towards Xavi Simons. And it was blocked by Anderson and sent wide. It looked like it was going to rip on the back of the net. But Xavi Simons' finish takes a deflection.
It was a wonderful block by Anderson, I've got to say. It looked as though... Oh, it was magnificent. We just watched the replay of it as well. He just got there with a flailing left leg.
Corner to be taken by Kudus. The corner kick prowess is there on the statistics board for all to see. Can they make this one? Can. In towards the near post. Picked up by Bergvall. Cleared off the line by Jimenez. Back in by Xavi Simons. Again by Bentancur. Away by Sessegnon. Odegaard takes it on. Middle of the Fulham half is Destiny Udogie. Good chance for Tottenham Hotspur. Been a real threat from those set pieces. Odegaard on the outside. Gets to the byline. Can he pull it back? He gets it through the area, but it's picked off by Josh King, who spirals and smashes it clear. 2-1 to Fulham. 66 on the clock. King Can't get close enough to Xavi Simons, who does well. Out to Randall Kolo Muani, who muscles the ball into the centre. Bentancur to Pedro Porro. He's encouraged to shoot. He does it. Bounces off the back of Sessegnon. Comes back to Audebert. It's clipped up towards the right-hand side, and then the offside flag is up against Kudus. Oh dear.
Yeah, this game's got 3-2 written all over it, but I don't know in which direction the next couple of goals are coming.
Substitution for Fulham. Off comes Chuck. Well, actually, who comes off? I don't think it is going to be Chuck Chukwueze, is it? I think he's going to stay on. He came over to the near side, but actually he's just getting some instructions. Off comes Harry Wilson, and on comes Sasa Lukic, which means a slightly different formation, I think. And off comes Josh King, and on comes Emil Smith-Rowe.
Just trying to freshen it up a little bit. They're under the cosh at the moment, Fulham. They're probably their play over the 60 odd minutes in general, certainly the first half, dictates that they probably should have been comfortably in the lead. At this moment in time, it's Spurs that have found their mojo.
I think Harry Wilson's got a bit of an injury. I think he indicated as he came off there that he had just tweaked a little hamstring. Ball up towards Jimenez, who chests it down, but Danso does well to follow it. It then breaks in midfield. There's a foul on Xavi Simons. The referee's played on. It's been pinched by Sasa Lukic. Now the referee does not pull it back. The Spurs fan's not happy about that, but he had played the advantage, and Spurs didn't make the most of it. Away by Bernd Leno. He's just smashed that upfield. Van de Ven will get there first, and it goes to a doggy. 22 minutes to go. No one leaving early now, because we're going into the final 22 minutes of the game, the final quarter of the game, and Tottenham have dragged themselves back into contention here to get a point. Here is Kudus, twisting and turning and trying to outfox Ryan Sessegnon. He tucks the ball back to Pedro Porro. It took a little deflection off Iwobi and goes out for a throw-in, and then Pedro Porro is dispossessed by Iwobi for a second time. Currently Tottenham Hotspur 1, Fulham 2. The latest odds are available from Betfair, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage, where right now you can back Tottenham Hotspur to win the game at 13-2. The draw is 9-4. You can back Fulham at 7-4 on to win the match. That's all thanks to Betfair, playing a different league this season with safe sub from Betfair. 18+, wegambleware.org.
Yeah, I think Marco Silva will be a little bit frustrated at the moment. A couple of times I've seen his team, they've been well worthy of certainly probably more points than they've actually delivered.
Yeah, that's happened quite a lot to them, I think. And you feel as if that maybe they could throw away this opportunity to post 3 points as well. Tottenham will certainly hope so. There's still a long way to go in the game. Xavi Simons has it over on the far side. Bergwijn tucks it back round the corner. Van de Ven in possession. The Tottenham crowd want all-out attack. So they're a little bit more measured as a doggy throws himself to the ground. Referee says play on. Chukwueze can just deal with it over on the far side and keeps the ball in play. Now Anderson, who can spray a ball, clips it out into the direction of Iwobi, who didn't get it under control and then gifted it back to Mohamed Kudus. It comes back to the near touchline. Tottenham in possession, just winding up to put more pressure on this Fulham backline. And they've had a lot of the ball in the second half, Tottenham. They haven't created too much, actually. The effort that they did have, they scored it. Here is Porro down the right-hand side. Ball into Kolo Muani. Just couldn't get it under control. Breaks for Bentancur. It's flicked away by Bassi. Good defending. Juggling is Kudus down by the corner flag. Lovely little back heel into Bentancur. He elevates it to the far post. Audebert under the bar. That was brilliant from Kudus. A lovely little impudent back heel into the path of Bentancur, who's crossed into the box. Did cause problems.
Yeah, it did. The supply line from this side is looking slightly better now, and Tottenham are looking like they might get first contact on a lot of these things.
Well, the Jekyll and Hyde nature of Spurs is once again in full display at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Kudus, dispossessed. Sessegnon forward. Iwobi. Now, they've got to take care of the ball a little bit better, Fulham, if they want to try and build an attack here. Lukic sends it back to Tete. Sent down the right wing for Jimenez, who's bumped off the ball by Van de Ven. And it was a bit physical, but Not too much, says referee Stuart Atwell. No free kick.
And I think he just got enough of shoulder to shoulder to get away with it.
Bentancur drives forward, gives it straight to Chukwueze. Jimenez holds on to it inside the Tottenham half, just right of the centre circle. Ball infield to the very tall and very effective Sander Berge, who keeps things ticking over in the middle of the park. He's played more minutes than anybody else for Fulham so far this season. Back into Calvin Bassey, back into Sander Berge again. They just need to get on the ball and keep possession, take the pressure off here. And that's not an ideal ball by Iwobi, because if you're going to put the ball in front of Jimenez, he's got to be favourite to get it. What you don't do as the ball goes forward straight to Bernd Leno and he picks it up inside the 6-yard box is invite a foot race between Jimenez and Mickey van der Ven, because there's only ever going to be one winner.
Yeah, that is true. He is absolutely lightning. And Fulham as well. Ball just gone into Leno there. You just want him to just leave the ball on the floor, put his foot on it, slow the game down. He picks it up and plays it a little bit early. I'm not sure that's a good tactic.
Well, he has it inside his 18-yard box. Anderson has just played it up towards Jimenez. He's won the first header. Look at the space for Sessegnon in behind here, running down the left. He's got Smith Rowe in the middle. Sessegnon races towards the edge of the box. Smith Rowe peels off. He finds him inside the penalty area, tries to turn and get the shot away. It bounces off of Van der Ven, who brilliantly stationed himself, came across, blocked the effort, and it runs into the arms of Vicario.
Yeah, once again a ball in behind that Tottenham back line. It was Sessegnon. If it was probably a straighter ball, he'd have been in on goal.
They were just caught in two minds as to whether or not to send it to Ryan Sessegnon or Smith Rowe, who was going down the other channel. Might have been better to go the other side, but then when you look up and you see Sessegnon or Smith Rowe, you know which one of them's got the pace.
Yeah, indeed.
Now Bernd Leno just trying to run the clock down a little bit away to our right hand side. He kicks it long up to halfway. It's headed away by Kevin Danzo. Back to the left fullback area, and Bassey flicked into the air by Pedro Porro, taken down by Emil Smith Rowe, the former Arsenal player who's getting a warm welcome. You like sarcasm? I thought I'd throw a bit in of my own. There's Smith Rowe. Back infield to Anderson, and then all the way back to the centre half, who gets it to his goalkeeper Bernd Leno, who again just decides to toss it up and go long. Danso will head it clear. It'll fall to Iwobi though in Fulham black. He'll turn and hold on to it. They've just taken the sting out of Tottenham just for a moment. They need to continue that for a little bit longer, I think. Berge into Chukwueze, tried to flick it beyond the doggy, did not come off. And then it's taken on by Bentancur, and you just wonder how long it will be before we see another Fulham change here.
Yeah, Chukwueze, it just, looks like he's learning the game a little bit. The ball gets played up to you, your team are on 75 minutes, you don't try and flick it through your legs and invite Tottenham to come on. It's too much of a gamble with the ball.
And Tottenham have used Europe to give them a bit of a weekend boost this season. They're unbeaten in all 5 Premier League games after European midweek matches this campaign. It's a big improvement on the results in the same sort of matches last season, when they lost 9 of 15 in the aftermath of European competition. Jimenez is in an offside position again. Nick Hopton very quick with a flag. It's going to be a free kick to Tottenham Hotspur. 15 to go. That's particularly interesting tonight. 60% possession for Tottenham Hotspur. Their XG now way up over 0.5, which is for Tottenham pretty good. 11 shots, 2 on target so far in the game. Neither goalkeeper has made a save in the match so far, but the touches inside the box sort of tell the story as well. I mean, 23 to 13, that's not very many, I don't think, from either side.
And Spurs look as though they've just lost a little bit of momentum now, haven't they? After the goal, and straight after, they're on the front foot. A lot of the play now is in the mid-band of the pitch.
And just for context, Manchester City had 45 touches inside the opponent's penalty area earlier today. Here on the far side, the ball taken on by Alderweireld, around the corner for a doggy. Now it's Xavi Simons trying to turn and get a shot, blocked by Sasa Lukic, who's back from suspension and come off the bench today to add a bit of steel to the midfield. And there was a tug back there, which Xavi Simons just handing off Alex Iwobi, and that's a free kick to Fulham, mid-centre of the Fulham half, and Tapsar's coming on for Bergvall now.
Yeah, they're looking a bit more physicality in there in midfield by the looks of it.
Started the first 4 in the Premier League, but only 2 of the last 8. Tapsar.
Yeah, I think it goes back to that Thomas Frank thing. I'm not sure that he's sure of his best side at the moment. You know, and sometimes your best side's dictated to by players' performances.
Poor free kick, straight out of play. It feels like a crucial time in this stadium and a crucial time for Thomas Frank, though, doesn't it? You know, we've got 13 minutes of this game. They're trailing by 2 goals to 1. It's the first of 3 home games in 10 days. They go to Newcastle live on TalkSport on Tuesday night. That's an 8:15 kickoff. Remember, this week we've got all of the games for you, every single one from the Premier League, all 10 over Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday night. You'll need the TalkSport app to listen to them all, and you can just download it and it will do the business for you. But Newcastle against Tottenham is a big one on Tuesday night. Wednesday night we've got the Arsenal game on TalkSport as well, which is a 7:30 kickoff, and Leeds-Chelsea, that's taking place too. But after that Newcastle game, it's Brentford and Slavia Prague here. Here is Chukwueze down the left-hand side, in towards the centre, and he used his hands to try and catch the ball there, Raul Jimenez, which was a bit stupid, and he's going to get a yellow card as a result of that.
Yeah, I think if Leno would have developed the same tactical approach for the goal, he might have saved it earlier, you know.
It's a good cross from Chukwueze, but he wasn't getting there, so he decided to jump up and use his hands, which just seems a little bit strange, because he's given himself a yellow card.
It was almost a cross shot. He put so much violence on the ball, it was impossible for anyone to get on the end of it, unless they were a goalkeeper, and obviously Jimenez has got the gloves, so fancied himself.
Yes, he tried to imitate one, didn't he? A little bit silly. Almost as if he was sort of doing the old basketball slam dunk there. Here is Danso, up to halfway, pinched by Sessegnon, good defending. Kevin's coming on. I wonder if that means that Chukwueze's night is going to be over very soon. The fourth official not quite happy with Kevin's attire, so he's got to go back towards the dugout and just have something tidied up. And that means a delay in his introduction. 11 minutes to go before the end of the game, and it's 2-1 to Fulham. Here is Kevin Danso of Tottenham Hotspur, sending it out wide towards Pedro Porro, clips it over the top, and it's a good forward run by Tapsar, who controls it on the back of his neck and then gets a low cross into the near post, stabbed away by Anderson, and Tapsar actually then ends up careering into the advertising hoardings away to our right, goes out for a throw here in the right wing position, but here's the change, Chukwueze coming off, and on comes Kevin.
Yeah, they'll look for a little bit more experience out there potentially.
Well, record signing, looking for a first goal in Fulham colours. He's dazzled at times, Kevin, in cameos, but he's sort of drifted out of games too. But they obviously have high hopes for him. Chukwueze's done pretty well as well. In fact, he did brilliantly. I think 3 assists he got in 103 minutes of Premier League football before today, and he's certainly played his part in helping Fulham into a good position here with 10 minutes to go. It's 2-1 to the away side. Danso to take a throw from this near touchline. Are we going to have another late goal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? Danso with a long throw towards the near post. It comes back towards Destiny Udogie, who strikes it. He's loose inside the penalty. A back heel from Kolo Muani goes wide. Well, that was a big chance. Udogie didn't get a clean strike, but when it fell to Kolo Muani, he had his back to goal and he had to try and improvise, and he almost found the far corner.
Yeah, they've been so certain in the first half and parts of the second half with their defending work, but they're looking a little bit more vulnerable to balls in the box now. Spurs competing a touch more, and Tete got caught trying to dribble out the box.
Maybe a slight shift of shape here from Marco Silva. We'll keep an eye on it because it looks like Iwobi's gone out to the far touchline. Lukic has gone in alongside Sander Berge. Smith Rowe in the 10, Jimenez through the centre, and Kevin on the left-hand side now. So lots of shifts and changes from Marco Silva. Danso's got better in the air the longer the game has gone on, and actually after losing almost every ball that went into the penalty area in the first half, he's managed to get the better of Jimenez on quite a few occasions. Matthias Tell is about to come on, is he, down in front of us? I think that's going to be another change for Tottenham. A delay to the throw-in, which is taken on halfway. Pedro Porro forward to Kudus. Back to Mickey van der Ven, who takes it away from Jimenez and tries to play it out to the far side, where Wilson Odobert shepherds it down the touchline, finds Xavi Simons. Simons with a back heel, which is easily cut out by Anderson. And breaks in midfield and comes through to Iwobi. Good take by him, the former Arsenal player. Charges forward, finds Jimenez. Jimenez trying to get beyond Danso. Danso decides just to wrestle with him. The ball runs loose in midfield. It's picked up by Sasa Lukic, who drives forward through the centre circle. Good intelligent play by him. He feeds Kevin. Kevin now taking the ball down the left-hand side. He gets to the edge of the area. He tries a shot. It bobbles through the legs of the defender and then goes into the arms of Vicario.
Yeah, he got a round of applause from his manager, but I think that was Hollywood football. I really do. I don't think that was what was needed at this stage of the game for Fulham.
The first bit from Sasa Lukic I thought was really intelligent, because he picked the ball up and instead of trying to play an ambitious pass forward, he just drove with the ball and kept Fulham in possession on the front foot. And they come forward again now with Emile Smith Rowe, and that challenge from Bentancur was not ideal. I think he's missed the ball and given away a free kick here, wide on the left-hand side. The ball was fed by Emile Smith Rowe into the left wing position. Kevin went across, Bentancur came across, missed the ball and swiped the legs away of the attacker.
Yeah, I'm not sure how he's avoided a yellow card for that. He made his mind up to make the challenge way before he should have done, and Kevin was just waiting for him and just towed it away. The challenge arrived.
Fulham quite happy to take their time over this free kick as we go into the final 6 minutes of the game. Sessegnon and Lukic standing over it. Jimenez, Berger, Smith Rowe, Joachim Anderson, Kenny Tete inside the box, just trying to manoeuvre a bit of freedom to try and attack this cross. Lukic is going to be the one to take it, I think. It's a narrow angle, tight to the touchline. He goes low towards the near post. It's fished away by the defender, and it's out for a throw-in on this near touchline. The referee's going to allow a substitution here. Matthias Tell coming on, and off comes Destiny Udogie. So they're going to go for it.
Well, I don't think you've got much choice at this stage. You've got 6 minutes plus overtime, so... And Fulham look as though they've stemmed the charge of Tottenham in this second half slightly.
Matthias Tell, who has scored 2 goals in his last 4 Premier League appearances. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Fulham 2. On TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it, book now at enterprise.co.uk. Jeff Stelling and Rangers legend Ali McCoy is back Monday from 6 o'clock in the morning. 10 o'clock, it's White and Jordan. And we've got a busy week of live football for you Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday night. We're really excited about bringing you all 10 games from this round of Premier League matches. Tomorrow morning, remember, 11 o'clock, Adrian Durham will be on air to bring you Crystal Palace against Manchester City. I'll be at Stamford Bridge from 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon to bring you all of the goals as they go in from around the 2 o'clock kickoffs, and the 4:30 blockbuster Chelsea against Arsenal, second against top. Tomorrow we'll have everything that you need. When you wake up, we've got the best analysis with Shaban and Tony Cascarino, and then Henry and Sean, and then from 11 o'clock the live football begins, and it's a full smorgasbord of live football tomorrow on TalkSport. Corner won by Odobert on the far side. He plays it against the defender Anderson. It goes out for a corner to Tottenham Hotspur with 4.5 minutes to go.
Well, I've got to say your commentaries are turning more and more like the leader of the opposition these days. Smorgasbord.
Smorgasbord. Why is that leader? I don't know.
Kemi Badenek used it.
Did she?
To reply to Rachel Reeves's budget.
Did she? I didn't see. I haven't been paying attention. Ball in towards the near post, headed away by Kenny Tete. Back to the far side, whipped in by Porro, easily gloved by Bernd Leno. Now, usually I would be across that. It's been a busy time.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm surprised you've missed it.
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed in myself, actually.
Well, I think the main reason for that is most of your money's tied up in Switzerland and not England, you know. Us taxpayers, we hang on the budgets every word.
Oh, if only. Crikey. Change. And off comes Alex Iwobi and on comes Castagna as they switch to a slightly more defensive position for the final 3 minutes of the game here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And Alex Iwobi claps the travelling supporters who haven't had far to go. Derby days have not been great for either of these two. Only West Ham have won fewer points in derby matches this season than Tottenham and Fulham. It's going to be Fulham that steal all 3 points from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and it's going to feel another pressurised environment for Thomas Frank. And I mentioned those fixtures: Newcastle away, Brentford at home, Slavia Prague at home, Forest away, and then Liverpool at home in the next few weeks. It's going to be a real tense time, I think, before we get to the end of the Christmas period. Ball clipped forward by Anderson, up towards Jimenez, headed down is by Danso into the path of his goalkeeper. 2.5 to play of regulation time. Fulham go back to the Cottage to play Man City in midweek, then Palace at home, Burnley away, and then a big Carabao Cup quarter-final live on TalkSport against Newcastle United. Here is Papsar flicking the ball into the air. Kudus tries to bring it down. The wrestling comes from Bassi, and it's going to be a free kick.
Yeah, I think Kudus just strayed offside there, come back in to retrieve the ball, and it'll be a welcome break for Fulham.
Look, Tottenham finished 17th last season, so any improvement was going to be incremental rather than stark. But the fans have been so frustrated for so long in this stadium, it's difficult to sort of sell them more patience. They want to kick on from the Europa League triumph last year, but this team might only just, Stuart, be able to skip forward, not leap.
Yeah, I think that will be a fair point. As I say, over the 90 minutes or so where we are at the moment, certainly Fulham have been the better side.
Bentancur out to Kudus. Any optimism that was generated from that PSG game is going to dissipate. Spurs, remember, poor for a lot of last season. Kudus has just wandered the ball out of play. They lost 22 Premier League games last year. There were mitigating circumstances for that. The squad wasn't really built to deal with the European campaign as long as it ended up being. There were injuries. There was actually a 3-month period. I look back at it today, over December and February, where Archie Gray, Ben Davis and Radu Dragosan were the rotating centre-backs, which, with all due respect to those players, one being a teenager, one being a veteran, the other being a very inexperienced Premier League player, wasn't the ideal combination. And they've had no Romero today, so it's Van de Ven and Kevin Danso, but they've made elementary errors. Their goalkeeper's made a big mistake. Bergvall made a mistake for the first goal, and they find themselves behind going into the final minute of the 90. And they're still deep inside their own territory. They need to get the ball forward quickly. Marco Silva is so animated on the near touchline, desperate to get over the line here in this game. Blocked by Smith Rowe. The ball flicks into the air. It's going to be 3 wins in 21 Premier League home games for Tottenham Hotspur if it stays like this. Bit of a fight going on between Danso and Emil Smith Rowe for a throw-in on the near touchline. Eventually it goes the way of the home team. It's in the right full-back position. Fulham determined not to let them get out, but Mickey van der Ven is determined to escape, and he travels laterally with the ball and then runs up towards the halfway line and drives his team into Fulham territory. Up it goes into Matisse Tell. Tell sends it back towards the halfway line. Just 4 minutes of added time at the end of the 90 on TalkSport. It's collected by Danso. Out wide onto the path of Pedro Porro. In it goes again. Porro's got it back onto Kolo Muani. Back to Porro. Can he swing the ball in towards the far post? He certainly can, but he gets too much elevation on it. It goes out of play, and it's going to be a goal kick away to our right. Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, as I say, Kevin was a little bit flimsy there with his recovery and challenge, and Porro, unlike him, has put a crossing that's too far. All Fulham need to do at this moment in time, keep possession of the ball, sensible play, keep players behind the ball.
Well, one of the things that Thomas Frank said he knew would happen when he took this job is that he would be criticised. I think sadly tonight he's going to get a little bit of stick after this, and Tottenham certainly are. It'll be a first win on the road for Fulham since they beat Thomas Frank's Brentford in May. It's going to be a rare bit of joy for the travelling Fulham fans. And it will be the first time that Spurs have lost consecutive Premier League matches under Thomas Frank. Fulham are doing very well to just disrupt and delay this as we go into the final 2 minutes of added time. Thomas Frank trying to get things moving. Danso wants to take the throw to launch it forward. He's taking his time. There's frustration everywhere. He throws it against the head of a black shirt and it's cleared away by Fulham. Coming forward is Odegaard, but that's a brilliant tackle by Kenny Tete. Superbly timed. It goes out of play, and now Odegaard says that he was hurt in the landing after that challenge and wants treatment. He's now got straight back up, by the way, and a free kick has been given.
No, throwing. He's given a throwing, but if you're a Tottenham player and you get injured at this stage and you need momentum, you get up. You don't slow the game down by staying on the floor because of your own ego.
Here is the throwing over on the far side. Danso to launch it. It gets towards the near post, but it's a Anderson header that propels the ball away. Odegaard is now back on his feet. He plays it wide towards the left. 90 seconds to go. They can't get it in the box here. Bentancur is dispossessed and Lukic has got hold of it. And again, he sensibly travels with the ball out towards the far side. He tries to shepherd the ball out of play. It goes out for a throw-in. It's helped into the air by Simons, who just whacked it as far away as possible. But it's Sessegnon who gets their first header on it. Kevin keeps hold of it. Then he runs into Porro. Porro takes it wide. Tries to take on Sessegnon. Kudus. And Kevin's got it back again, neat back heel, and now Sessegnon looks to the far side and he looks for Raul Jimenez, who should run for touch over on the far touchline to keep Fulham away from danger. Kenny Tete takes over. They go for yardage up the pitch. That was a foul by Kolo Muani. That's going to be a yellow card.
I've got to say, at this stage, you make substitutions as a manager, and Marco Silva's done that. But I'm not so sure the likes of Smith Rowe and Kevin have actually worked out what's needed at this game, at this stage of it. You know, I really haven't. The key is to work as hard as you can for your team. Get behind the ball, challenge for the ball, don't give it away, and just work tirelessly. And I don't think either of them worked that out, actually.
Tete scored after 4 minutes to really give a sucker punch to those Spurs fans, all of whom are leaving now. There's loads of empty seats. Then Wilson capitalised on an absolute moment of madness from Vicario. That was 2-0. It stayed that way until the hour mark when Kudus got a thumper to make the deficit back down to just one. But Tottenham have not been able to keep hold of the momentum. They've lost the momentum, in fact, and Fulham are going to see it out. It's forward by Danso, but given straight to Sasa Lukic. Now it's on to Sonderberger. There's the full-time whistle, and listen to those boos. I think there might be a frank exchange of views after that. Tottenham Hotspur fall to their fourth home league defeat of the season. It's now 3 wins in 21 Premier League games in these majestic surroundings. But when they give these supporters a performance like that, it makes it very uncomfortable. Forget the fancy craft owl and the lovely seats. What they want is some football to enjoy, and they haven't had that nearly enough in the last year. Marco Silva did a job on Thomas Frank last season, and he's done one again. In fact, Silva was on shaky ground 2 weeks ago, but his standing is a lot more stable than the new Spurs head coach. Tottenham lose again. They fail to win at home again. And it's finished Tottenham 1, Fulham 2.